Day we got the keys to the suite, I found out I was pregnant.
Meet Ella, a successful salon owner who has transformed her beauty business from a tiny room into a multi-award-winning salon with a team of 12.
You need to start talking on your stories, showing how much of a kind, compassionate person you are. People want to see who is injecting their face.
When Ella first took the leap into the beauty industry, even her closest friends and family told her not to launch during lockdown.
And everyone around me was like, no, just wait till COVID's over, go back to your job.
She had a dream and she was determined to make it happen. Some might say that Ella was lucky, but what they don't see is the relentless struggles that Ella had behind the scenes.
So they put me forward for an MRI and it turns out I was stage 4 endometriosis.
She had devastating miscarriages.
I unfortunately suffered with multiple miscarriages.
Most people would have given up, but Ella, she channeled her pain into power. She built a thriving beauty empire from scratch.
I would say one of the busiest salons in our area, and I think that's because of the VIP experience we give.
Ella's story isn't just inspiring, it's a game changer. This episode will change everything that you think you know about success in the beauty industry. What specific strategies do you implement to make sure your clients feel special and to keep them coming back to you?
It starts from this.
Welcome to the podcast, Ella.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I am really excited about our chat today.
Yes.
I know I say this all the time, but it's because I am always excited about my chats with my amazing guests because I handpick everybody out and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And when I say yes to someone, that's because I genuinely want them to come and share the story. Also, if anybody's applied and it's not a yes yet, just know that I've got a huge wait list, so it might be yes in the future. But okay, I'm going to stop digging my grave and we'll start talking about you.
Yeah.
So you founded Ella Bellissima in 2020.
Yeah.
The time of the global pandemic.
It was.
What motivated you? What motivated you to start your salon during such a crazy time, Ella?
Wow.
Was you okay?
Well, I'll be honest, it's a bit deep if you're ready.
Yeah, no, let's get it. We like deep.
We obviously went into lockdown in March time. I was employed in a salon. I was a manager of a local salon. And just before we went into lockdown, me and my partner at the time were trying for a baby.
Okay.
And, you know, my idea was to have a baby, go on maternity leave, get employed maternity pay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a straightforward route. I unfortunately suffered with multiple miscarriages as we were going into lockdown. So, and then I found out I had a lot of health conditions, stage 4 endometriosis, blood clotting disorders, you name it. And after my third, I was like, I'm going to stop this now and just give myself a break, mentally and physically. But
it's hard, isn't it, to keep trying and pushing and
my body and my mind, everything was just taking its toll. And I was like, and we were in lockdown as well. So I was like, you know, I was having to go to hospital appointments on my own and it was just a really hard time. And I get obsessive over things.
Yeah.
Like I needed something new to focus on. I needed a new baby as such. And the thought of going back to my job, I don't know why, I think everyone felt a bit like that in lockdown. Going back to work was like really daunting and I needed something to obsess on and focus on. And I knew I always wanted my own salon, but my goal was to have children first and then do that. So I decided just to throw myself into working on what my business would be. And I never necessarily planned to do it in lockdown. I just thought I'm going to spend this time that we've just got to make a business plan. And I did. And the more we went on into lockdown, the more I was like, I could do this. And everyone around me was like, no, just wait till COVID's over, go back to your job and then launch your own business after COVID's gone. And then it came to salons opening back up and I was like, I can't go back to work. I can't do it.
Yeah, panicked.
And I had this idea. I was like, I know I can make it work. So I just did it. I handed in my notice at the salon and said I wasn't going to come back. And I had nowhere to lash from but my tiny 1-bedroom flat. And I just put a thing up on Instagram and just said that, you know, Ella Bellissima is launching, blah, blah, blah. And then all my clients decided to follow me I was just lashing in my living room.
Wow.
So, but that only lasted a month and then I outgrew the living room quite quickly.
Okay. So how long was you in the salon for then previous to?
It's about 2.5 years.
Okay. And had you been in the industry before that?
Yeah, so I've been in the beauty industry about 10 years now. I was mainly makeup before. So I did makeup for quite a few years and then I decided to do lashes like on the side, did a very rubbish course, and then just decided to do it in the evenings, like a bit extra money, because makeup was just weekends. And I was working full-time on a beauty counter, like MAC, Charlotte Tilbury, I've done all those, and I wanted to get out of retail, but I wanted something that was going to give me like a steady income. So makeup was always my main passion, but I decided to train in lashes to kind of just get a bit of extra pocket money, I guess. And then I was approached by a local salon owner who had done her makeup quite a few times. And I was going through quite a rough time at the time, really bad toxic relationship split. And she approached me and was just like, do you want to come work for me? And I was like, I've only been doing lashes like a couple months. I'm using pre-made fans. I can't like, nothing wrong with them, by the way, but I can't, make my own fans. She was like, no, I'll train you. And she did, and she gave me that opportunity, and I'll always be grateful for that. And yeah, it just kind of went from there.
More doors for you, didn't it?
Yeah.
So kind of lockdown came to an end, and you was like, you didn't feel aligned with working for somebody else anymore. You had started playing around with all these ideas for your new business, and you eventually just thought, fuck it, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
You was in your 1-bedroom flat, and you just thought, I'm just going to go. Was you worried about telling clients you was doing it from your flat? Because a lot of people worry about doing it from home initially because they think, oh, what are people going to think? But that didn't seem to affect you, did it?
Well, because the salon I worked in was quite small but very cramped. Like, we had lash beds like touching each other, and I knew that people weren't going to feel that comfortable going back to that environment after lockdown. People kind of wanted that one-to-one home salon. So that was kind of my selling point, really, at the time. Obviously, that's totally not what I offer now. But at the time, it was like, you don't need to go to a busy salon, come to me in my living room, COVID secure and all that.
You just used it to your advantage.
Yeah, so that kind of didn't worry me. And my clients were so loyal to me. And I'd remember when I would go on holiday in the salon and they'd have to go to another member of staff, even though they were great, we're all different, they'd be like stressing out over me going on holiday. And so I knew that they would follow me. And I'd say about 95% of my clients did follow me, which is amazing. And and I didn't even have to try. I just put something on Instagram. I changed my Instagram name to Ella Bellissima, so they all followed me, and I just put something out saying that I'm going to be working from home, and I just got flooded with messages, and it was like, I know, I couldn't believe it.
And all that, like, thinking about it, and you just did it, and it just worked.
But I'm not an over worrier. Like, I just kind of trusted my instinct and knew that it would work out. So, and if it didn't, I'll just go and get another job.
Exactly. I think that's the best attitude to have. So many people spend so much time holding themselves back from taking the leap because they think, what if it doesn't work out? What if this? What if that? And it's like, or just go and get another job. Yeah. You're employable. And I thought this when I was leaving my job in sales, and it was a secure job and I was earning great money, and I was like, what if it don't work out? And I just thought, I can get a job in sales pretty much. There's always sales jobs.
Absolutely.
Always.
Yeah.
And I'm really good in interviews. I'm employable.
Yeah.
If it don't work out, I'll just go do that. And that was as much time I spent stressing about that.
Yeah.
And I think people need to spend less time worrying about what if it goes wrong,
and what if it goes
spend
right.
more time thinking about what if it goes right. So you're in your home at this point, you've got clients coming to you. What made you want to expand? Because you now have your own salon and a team, and we're going to go into all of the amazing things that you've created. But at this point, you're kind of on your own, you're lashing, you're earning money, you're not paying any rent. You're earning more money than you've ever earned before, because now you're not being paid hourly such, X amount per hour, you're getting the full whack. So why didn't you just stay there doing that?
I think it was having that separation from working home. I love getting up, getting ready, putting my makeup on, putting a nice outfit on and going to work. And after being at home for a month, I started to slip into not making an effort, wearing my trackies. And it was also like I didn't have a separate room. It was in my living room. So I was having to, prop up my lash bed every morning, set up my trolley, get it out of a cupboard. And it was just like, I want to just get in my car and drive to work.
Yes, I get that.
So I looked for places available. And the first place that come up was somewhere that I'd actually had rented a studio before, because way before I got into beauty, I was a photographer.
Okay.
So, I've had many careers, but
we all have.
Years and years ago, I had a photography studio, and I ended up going into makeup from photography, but that's another story. And I saw this place come up. I was like, oh my God, like, I know the landlord. We left on good terms. I'm just going to pop him a text. And I was like, hiya, I've seen you've got a studio for rent. I'm looking for somewhere again. And he was like, yeah, come down. It was so easy. And he was like, it's this amount a month. It was like no deposit. And it was just like, I knew the place, they had a car park, and it was just something I could make my place of work and my own, and somewhere nice and private for clients to come. And it just felt right. And it just felt like, I don't know, like it's very rare this place has places available, like rooms available to rent. So when I saw it, I just was like, this is meant to be.
It's got to be. It's got to be this one.
So I just went for it.
So did it need any work, or how long?
No, it didn't need any work. Obviously, I decorated it to make it my own. And I was there for, God, how long was I there for? Maybe a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And then I started working with taking on team members and things like that, and then I knew I needed to expand somewhere a bit bigger. So
then you moved again to somewhere bigger.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that when we get to the team members thing. Where do you think your ambition comes from?
I'd probably say my mum. Like, when I was younger, my mum's always worked. And I remember when I was little, like, she was a single mum for the first 5 years of my life. And I'd go to work with her if I couldn't go to nursery, like in the summer holidays. I remember like going to work with her. She was like a cleaner in the day, and then she was a bar manager of a club in the evening. And like, I wouldn't sit in the club, but I would sometimes help her stock the Red Bull in the daytime. Yeah. And I just always saw her work, and she's always like taught me the value of money. And you know, if you want something in life, you've got to work for it. And I've had a job since I was 13 years old. I haven't not worked, apart from COVID. I've always worked, and I just knew that I wanted to be successful. Like, I've had many different goals and career paths in my life, but I knew that one thing was always clear for me, and it was to be successful.
And what does successful mean to you? Because for everybody it's different, isn't it?
It changes all the time for me.
It does,
I mean, you know, it used to be like just being able to fill up my car and not worry about the cost of it, or be able to
get it to that click point and it going click and going, no problem.
Not watching like, you know.
I used to put £3 in my car once upon a time.
I've been there.
Like £3 because that was the minimum amount you could put in.
I know. And just being able to take my kids on holiday whenever I want and things like that. And I think, I mean, now, it would be mean a bit more to me.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a good thing and a bad thing. I think for me, having goals and changing what successful means to you is good, but then there's also just appreciating what you have. And I think one of my goals for this year is remembering that 5 years ago, I'd have dreamt for where I am now. I know that's a real cliche saying, but I think just really being grateful for where I am now and realising I am successful, and I can be more successful, yes, but there's no rush.
Yeah, I get that. And I think because you are a natural entrepreneur, it's in your blood to go for that next thing. You've seen your mum graft, you've grafted. It's in your blood. It's like, and I say this at the events, I said at the event you came to, actually, the one at the Icon, and I say, like, the thing is, when you're an entrepreneur, it's in your blood. You set yourself a goal and then you go chase that goal and you hustle on that goal because you enjoy the hustle of it. And then you achieve that goal and you celebrate it for about 30 minutes.
I know.
And then you go next.
Yeah.
And then you spend all this time achieving that goal, then you get it and then you celebrate it for about 5 minutes. And it's like, we do become conditioned to success. Yeah. And actually, success, do you know what I mean? Success to me now has changed. For me, success is I can go stay in 4 or 5-star hotels no matter where I go, and I can take my friends to them if I want to. But also success to me is not having to worry about having the hot tub on at home because it's costing me a tenner extra a day. Like that. I just go and jump in the hot tub when I want. Success to me is having a nice warm house and nice carpets in my front room. It's so different, isn't it? But I think for each person, it is up to them. Success to some people is living an absolute minimalist life, having barely any personal belongings and visiting a beach once a year to make a fucking necklace out of shells. And that's their version, and that's so cool. I think it's important that as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we get clear of what our own definition of success is for us, because it changes and that's okay. And it's okay to want the nice things, and it's okay to also appreciate the small things. But you're right, I try and remember often where I am right now is where I dreamed to be 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure where I'll be in 5 years is where I dreamed to, you know, but sorry, I just went way off piece then.
It's fine.
But yes, I think it's important, and your ambition obviously comes from your mum, and you were saying that, it's success. I went way off piece. Anyway. So you say that you offer a VIP experience for your clients. So what specific strategies do you implement to make sure your clients feel special and to keep them coming back to you?
I think it starts from the salon that I worked at previously. All treatments were kind of done on times. And I know that is quite a common thing in the industry, and that I'm not bashing that at all. But I felt as a therapist, it was constantly on a time, like, oh, they've just booked a 30-minute infill for the lashes, but they actually need a 50-minute infill.
Okay, so in, out.
It was like a conveyor belt of
Shake it all
clients.
about.
Yeah, it was just constant, like,
Yeah.
and I was never really happy with the work that was going out. And I knew when I started Ella Bellissima, you know, like, for example, with a lash infill, let's just say a 2-week lash infill, we book out an hour. We might only need to spend half an hour on your lashes. We might need to spend 40 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever. But we've booked out that time. And some people might say, well, you could maybe earn in so much more money if you did it the other way. But for me, it's about giving that client that time they need. If we've only spent 45 minutes on your lashes, but you also want 15 minutes just to chat to us because you've had a really crappy week, then we're there for you. Yeah. And, you know, we might have the time to go, actually, you know, I've got 15 minutes left. Do you want a brow wax?
Exactly.
Yeah, just giving them that time, not making them feel rushed. And it's the same with like nails. Like, you know, our nail tech takes a little bit longer than other people in the area, but she really spends that time perfecting the client's nails. And I think that's, yeah, at the start, it was like, we could be making a little bit more money. But now we've grown to be, I would say, one of the busiest salons in our area. And I think that's because of the VIP experience we give. And obviously there is so much more to the VIP experience. For example, like our lash beds all are in kind of private booths with curtains. That's like something that was not been done in my area before. I'd kind of seen it done in America, but I was like I said in my last salon, they're all like sardines. And I wanted that, you know, you're in a big salon, but you have that one-on-one privacy with your therapist and, you know, just really doing a thorough consultation. And I've always been really quite strict with the team about making sure you tailor in any lash set, nail set, facial, whatever you're doing to that client. We don't want our portfolio on Instagram looking all samey. You know, you go on our Instagram and there is so much variety, and that's because we really listen to what each client wants, and I think that's really important.
I love that. You can tell that this passion and this comes from your core.
Yeah.
This is your standards, these are your values,
Yeah.
and you've kind of made sure that this happens throughout your team. Let's talk about your team. So
Yeah.
tell me about your current salon setup. So you started in your room at home.
Yeah.
You then moved to a salon
Yeah.
and you hired another person, is that right?
Yeah, so they were self-employed,
Yeah.
but it was, joined my team. I've had a few, the first 3 people that I had join me were disasters.
Not the right, that's fine, we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. But after that, it was like, I don't know, I felt like I manifested a good team. And
boy, I think you learn.
Yeah,
you learn how to employ.
I definitely learned. So yeah, I started having team members come and work with me. And that's when, from the first studio, I was like, right, I need to move somewhere else.
Bigger.
So I moved to a suite that had like 2 rooms. And I rented one of the rooms out to a nail tech. And then the day we got the keys to the suite, I found out I was pregnant.
Okay.
And I was like,
you and your timing.
I know, literally. I'm ripping up flooring and I was like, I feel really tired. Like, what's going on? And went to the toilet, did a pregnancy test. There we are. And I was like, wow, what have I done? And I didn't have another lash tech at this time. And I was, you know, 95% lashes. So I was like, I need to find someone. And I thought, who can I ask? I don't know what to do. I had a random message off one of my old students, because I do have a training academy as well, saying, hi Ella, like, I really want to go for a job at this salon doing lashes. Would you recommend them? And it sounds really cheeky, but I was like, well, I actually have a job coming up at my salon. It's not employed, because I knew she was looking for employed. I was like, it's self-employed, but you are going to have all of my clients.
Yeah, you're going to be busy, so don't worry. And you probably earn more.
Yeah. So she came and I chatted to her and she came on board quite quickly and she got really busy really quickly. And I originally trained her, so I knew her standard was the same as me. And then before I went on maternity leave, my plan was to put all of my clients on her.
Yep.
But the time that she'd spent from me finding out I was pregnant to go on a maternity leave, she'd ended up getting fully booked from not my clients.
From word of mouth.
Just word of mouth. And I was like, what am I going to do? And then one day, one of my regular clients who'd also been taught by me in lashes came to her appointment and she was crying. And I was like, what's the matter? She was like, I'm really unhappy in my job. I really want to be doing lashes, but I don't have the room to do it at home. I don't know what to do. I feel stuck. She was having a proper panic. And I was just like, babe, like, do you want a job? And like, my inner voice was like, you've just like, this girl's just come in having like an anxiety attack and you've just given her a job. Like, what have you done? And she was like, oh my God, really? She was so happy. And I was like, right, I go on maternity leave in 2 weeks. we've got 2 weeks to get you ready. So we literally spent 2 weeks training her, getting her up to standard, and I was able to go on maternity leave as planned, and it all went really smooth. And then that's just kind of how
you've grown.
Yeah.
So how many of you in the team now then?
Oh God, I've lost count. I think that there will be, by the end of next month, 12 of us.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've got one employed, and then the rest are self-employed.
Jeez, yeah, but that's a huge team. It's still a lot to manage. And also, let's just go back a little bit. So you did a pregnancy test, found out you was pregnant.
Yeah.
You had another surprise though, didn't you?
A 7-week scan I found out there was not just one, but there was 2.
Oh my God.
Double trouble.
Was you scared at this point? Because you had all of that history. And we have to talk about that because many women experience this, don't they? And they don't.
I've always been really open about it. And I think it's important to, because I work with women, the amount of people, the clients I've told my story to, and then they've ended up opening up to me. And, when I went through everything I went through, I thought I was the only one. I was like, I think I was 26 at the time. I was like, I'm young, I'm fit, I'm healthy. Why me?
Why me? Yeah.
I didn't realise how common it was.
Yeah.
And I think working in the beauty industry is what helped me, talking to women every day. And then, I've told clients my story and they've ended up going to the doctors and getting tested for certain things. And because of me, they've been like, wow, I didn't realise I had endometriosis or all these other problems.
And was these problems impacting why you couldn't keep your pregnancies?
Yeah. So I found out the endometriosis was, I had a lot of trouble conceiving before I fell pregnant. And then the reason that I couldn't stay pregnant is because I had a blood clotting disorder. So basically my body would attack itself when I felt pregnant. So but the NHS, I'm not sure how it is now, but at the time you had to have 3 miscarriages to be tested, which I think is ridiculous.
I agree.
And I would, love to be able to campaign to change that when I find the time. Yeah. So I had my 3rd miscarriage and I got these tests and it all came back that I had this problem with my blood. And they were like, right, we've got a plan. You can, the minute you fall pregnant, you'll just have to inject yourself with blood thinning injections in order to stay pregnant. But it's not guaranteed, obviously. But then after that, I had decided obviously to have my break with trying for a baby. Yeah. And in them 2 years, my endometriosis pain, I wasn't diagnosed at this point. I knew I had it though. And I was suffering so bad with pain and I was going to the doctor all the time about it. And they were like, nothing was happening because it's how it is with endometriosis. But I was under the consultant of a miscarriage unit and they said, you could try for a baby now if you want. And I was like, I'm in so much pain daily. And I was like, that's the last thing on my mind. So they put me forward for an MRI. And it turns out I was stage 4 endometriosis, and it's pretty much everywhere apart from my fallopian tubes and ovaries, which means they were like, you could still conceive. And I was like, well, but maybe I'll wait. Like I've just opened up another salon, or I'm about to open up another salon, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, if you wait any longer, you might not be able to conceive.
Fuck's sake.
So I was like, right, pressure. Off
we go then.
And then we go, first
to
time,
the bedroom.
Bam. I happened to be double ovulating that month. So
shit. Are you glad now?
Oh my God, I think I had twins for a reason, Like I don't want any more kids, but I probably wouldn't be able to have more now,
You've done it though, you had 2.
It's like, I think I had 2 for a reason, I'd gone through all that stress and heartache, and pregnancy was so horrible for me. That I think if there is a God up there, he gave me 2 for a reason, so I didn't have to go through it again. So
and how old are they now?
2.
2, that's
right.
Oh.
So I feel like we've gone on a tangent here. I don't know, what the question was.
I think just circling back, the thing is though, Ella, you was building this salon, employing this team, whilst pregnant, whilst fearful. Yeah. Because even at the time they said try now, you were probably thinking, am I miscarriaging? I know. Every day you was probably, every twinge, everything. And people would look at you now and be like, look at her, she's stunning, she's glam, she's got 12 staff, this salon. She's just so lucky. Bollocks.
No.
If anything, I'd probably say unlucky.
Yeah, really unlucky. And I've had to work probably a bit harder than, everyone's got their own battles. And I think it's really important to talk about it because I would never want someone looking at me and thinking, God, she's so blessed. And, I think it's important if you are someone that's going through struggles, success is still possible. You just might have to work a little bit harder.
Got to work a bit harder. So you didn't have an easy road. You opened the salon, you had to go into maternity, and then you came back. So what made you want to have a majority of self-employed team in your salon?
Originally, it was because the employed salon that I worked at previously, every time a staff member got really good at their craft, they decided to go off and be self-employed. And I think that was the problem with that salon I worked in, is it was a high staff turnover. And I just didn't want that. And I know now that there is a way to keep employed staff. Obviously, I've learnt this, but I wanted the best therapists in the town all under my roof. And I knew that the goal is long-term to go self-employed.
I agree.
Not for everyone. Obviously, some people like the security of employment, but I wanted the girls to be in my salon to stay.
Yes.
You know, and most of them have been with me for about 3 years now, so I think that speaks a lot.
Yeah, considering you bloody opened that 3 years ago,
I know,
so
literally.
that says a lot. Yeah.
So I had all the self-employed staff, but I know obviously there is a limit to what you can earn with self-employed, and some of them are on commission basis, some are on rental, and with the commission basis, I do feel like I give, from my market research, and I give quite a good deal because I supply the products, but I own the product line.
Yes.
So I own my own Lash brand. So it's cheaper for me to supply the product. So it's a win for me and it's a win for them.
Yeah.
But then I went down the employed route by accident, really, because I got approached by someone who was wanting to do an apprenticeship. And at the time I was like, oh my God, but that means paying them if they haven't got clients.
Yeah,
and it was
and on your
scary.
leave and
I
all
know.
that stuff.
And then I kind of turned it down because I was just, I looked into it and then I was like, oh my God, no, I can't do it. I'm just so happy where I am, just leave it. And then she messaged me again and she was like, look, obviously I can't do my apprenticeship with you, so I've decided just to go and do a beauty course, and then can I do my work experience with you? I was like, yeah, no worries. She came for a little chat with me and I met her and I was like, what have I done? She would be a great member of the team, like to come and, why have I turned her away as an apprentice? So I just said to her, can I have you as an apprentice? Like, sorry to mess you around, but
I actually want you now.
Yeah, I was like, I know you start your course in 2 weeks, but any chance you can change it to an apprenticeship? And it was a bit of a struggle, but we did. And she came on board and I literally threw her in the deep end and trained her from the get-go. You know, most apprentices will sit on reception for the first 6 months. So I was like, no.
Straight on there.
Yeah, because that's how I was trained.
Yeah, it's the best way.
Absolutely.
It is the best way.
Yeah, and now, I mean, I think I was only financially with her wages, I only made a loss with her in the first month, and ever since then it's been profit. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I say, you know, going all in, you can allow about 3 months to start to break even and build up from there. But that's amazing. But again, it's because the way your salon is.
Yeah.
And I know that you focus really heavily on training your team. To like the best of your ability. So why do you think it's important for you and your team to keep learning and growing, and why do you want them to train to your standard? Because they're self-employed, aren't they, at the end of the day?
Yeah, and I think when any self-employed member of the team comes on board, I'm always very open about my standard.
Yes.
And I'm like, if you are, yes, you're running your own business, but if you're working under my name, it needs to be of a certain standard.
Yep.
And, you know, I have a salon handbook, which I got off the training, and, you know, it's all written in there for them to read through before, so they don't have to make any, you know, no surprises. But who wouldn't want to work to a high standard? So, you know, I've never had anyone complain and say, no, I don't really want to learn this technique or whatever. Like, and I think because I own a training academy, it's naturally embedded in me to just teach.
You're a natural trainer.
Yeah, and I've always thought I want to be ahead of everyone else. I want to be one step ahead. And I think we are. Like, our salon has such a variety of the price list is huge. I mean, some people say, oh, it's paradox of choice, there's too much to choose from. I don't agree with that. I think it's nice for people to have that choice. And I think, you know, most salons in our area, it's just a 1 hour lash set, 2 hour lash set. We've got a whole menu just for lashes, like angel lashes, wispy lashes, fox eye, like we've got it. And I'm always teaching them the new techniques, or even if I'm not teaching them, I'm sending online training courses for them to do and things like that. And yeah, I just...
You're invested, aren't you?
So invested.
In your results, in the standards.
Yeah.
And it pays, doesn't it?
Massively.
It really does.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about doing some of the training. So you're a Beauty Growth Academy member, aren't you?
Yeah.
What has the Beauty Growth Academy helped you with the most in your journey so far?
I'd probably say the personal development and mindset, massively. Like, I mean, God, like, the money and management as well has been a game changer. But for me, the biggest one is the personal development mindset. I was very scatty before. Before I joined the BGA, I was literally didn't know my numbers. I didn't have a magic morning. I mean, it's hard to have a magic morning when you've got twins.
Oh, babe, like I always say, there is conditions around that, and 100%,
you know,
babe, you do you, boo. You've got to.
I didn't, wind down of an evening. I didn't read. Now I read every night. Just the daily habits.
Yeah, it's
and
like the self-awareness, isn't it? I think
Yeah.
self-awareness as a business owner is important, because without it, you are going by chance. You're playing you're just trying, you're just chucking something in the window, something, open it sticks. I don't fucking know. Shit. But it's like when you actually become self-aware, you take control over your output.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, I'm actually responsible for my energy. Oh, I'm responsible for these results. So yeah, I'm glad that you shared that, because I think it's important.
And I think sometimes, you can read all the stuff online, but I think the way you deliver your training, you record yourself talking. I just feel like we're on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And it does feel like a one-to-one call all the time, every time I watch a different training video. And it's sometimes having someone like yourself giving you a good kick up the arse, really. And because you are so like straight to the point, I love it. It's just...
I'm like a kick up the arse, but with a love.
Yes, with a lot of love, yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad it's helped you. I always find it really interesting to see which part of the training helps people the most. And everybody's different, but personal growth to me is just everything. And money management. Oh. Would you be where you are now without getting your shit together with your money?
No, I was terrible. Like, me and numbers don't ever get on. But
was everything going in your personal bank?
Not necessarily that. I mean, I had my two businesses merged together in one bank account, which was just confusing as hell. My accountant hated me for it. Yeah. Took her ages to do my accounts. I just give her she's brilliant though. I just give her my bank statement and be like, just separate which one's which. I don't mind, like whatever. And just not being able to set targets. I didn't really know like how much the salon was making. I didn't know what I could afford to do next. This is why I was so scared of taking on that staff member, because I didn't know if I could afford it. But then actually when I worked out my numbers, I realised, no, I can afford it. And now I'm a spreadsheet obsessed queen.
I love that. And the training's helped you to become
massively,
that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I never dared even go near a spreadsheet before.
Yeah. So, it's funny that when it's not even that hard, is it?
No.
When you actually learn
it's like, really enjoyable.
I'm the most basic bitch on a spreadsheet you will ever meet, and I'm changing girls' lives by just teaching them finances. And my spreadsheets are like the most basic, but sometimes simplicity is fucking key.
Oh, massively.
And I think that helps. So you obviously had your twins in November 2022. How have you managed to like balance work and being a mom and just life in this time? Because it's not easy, is it? We're not going to even pretend. We're not going to try.
I don't think there is such thing as work-life balance, if I'm honest. I think for me, it's a massive juggle, but when I'm being like the best mum at home, I'm being a bit of a shit business owner. Yeah. And when I'm being an amazing entrepreneur, I'm being not a shit mum.
But I know what you mean.
I'm lacking at home. And I think it's just about accepting that. I can't be everyone I can't be everything to everyone, and I can't be everywhere at the same time. And my team are really helpful. They know obviously what I've got going on at home with the boys, and they know that sometimes I'm not available 24/7. And I think having the team, they're all like my best friends now. And I think they are so understanding. And with the boys, obviously they don't really know what's going on, but when I'm not with them, they are with family members or they're enjoying life at nursery. Yeah. So I think it's about getting rid of mum guilt, and just, knowing that I'm doing this for them and building them a future. But in terms of juggling it, it's just about having the help. And I think as well, like, you see so many people bossing it in life and they've got kids, like, how do they do it? But they're never open and honest about the help they have. Yeah. Like, I will admit, they go to nursery. My mum and dad are like, I wouldn't be able to do this without them at all. They have them whenever I need them to. I'm not saying I drop them on them.
Yeah, but listen, you've got a support system, and they love them just as much as you do.
Oh my God.
If not, I've heard nannies, like, nanny love is more stronger than mum love. I mean, I'm not a nanny yet, but I can imagine. Like, there's no harm in that, and there's no shame in that, and I think it needs to be normalised.
Absolutely. And like I said, I'll say like, oh my God, like, a model's dropped out of this training session, I need to go and help the staff at work or whatever. Like, I'll ring my dad, like, please, can you come and watch the boys for 2 hours? And he'll come over, and I'll just go, and I think it is a struggle, but I think it is worth it in the long run. And I know that, like, when they're at school, it's going to be a lot easier. And, there are times when I think, God, if I was as much of a business-minded person now, before I had kids. Like, what could I've done? And it's just crazy that I've actually become so business obsessed since having the boys. And I think when I was pregnant, my goal was to just never work in the salon again, have my staff making me like an income, and just be a stay-at-home full-time mum. And that is the hardest job in the world.
Oh my God, I would not.
Oh my God. And don't get me wrong, I loved spending my time with my boys, but I had 4 months of being at home.
No.
And it wasn't, when they were 4 months old, I had, basically the lease was up on my salon and I had to choose to either stay there, knowing that it was going to get changed to flats in the future. I knew that was the plan for the landlord, or I had to go and find somewhere else. So I had 4-month-old twins. I was planning on just being a stay-at-home mum and having a cheap, the rent on my last salon was so cheap. So life was sweet.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I'm going to move, it needs to be to a proper salon, one with windows.
That's scalable.
Yeah, one on a busy street. So when I had 4-month-old twins, I decided to sign a lease to a massive salon.
That's wild to
I
me.
know.
Like, when I had my daughter, I was very young, and I am not ashamed to say in any way, shape or form, I preferred to be at work.
Oh, me too.
I was, 18 years old. I was 17 pregnant, 18 when I had her. She was born 7 weeks prematurely. When I was in hospital, I got took to the wrong baby. I spent 15 minutes with someone else's kid.
You're joking.
No, I'm not. So that fucking traumatised me. I was a baby myself. She had colic. The day she came out of hospital, it was about 3 weeks after she was born, she came out of hospital. She died in my arm.
No.
I just had the worst experience.
Oh my God.
I went back to work. I was working in a bar as well as doing another job at the time of me being pregnant with Amelia, because I used to carry the crates of like filling up the fridges on my bump.
Oh my God.
And I actually went and did a shift while she was in special care unit because my head was just fucked. I was like,
need to keep busy.
Yeah. And then when I eventually got home with her, she had horrific colic, and I put her in nursery Monday to Friday 9 till 5.
Yeah.
And she was about 6 weeks old. Their fucking nursery loved it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, a baby. They don't get babies, really.
No.
Not really. Like in the baby room, it's very rare that they have a baby. They raised my child for me. They potty trained everything. And I then was bashed for it, she's never got a kid or whatever. And I just thought, well, do you know what? My career started there.
Yeah.
And I just
bet
think
she's living a great life now.
She's a fucking nightmare. Gee, she's so expensive. But we've got, I remember, and I'll openly say it, the first time I looked at her and thought, God, I love you, she was 2.
Really?
Yeah.
But
felt like I was babysitting.
But there's nothing to
awful.
be ashamed of that.
No,
so
there's
many
not.
women feel like that, you know?
I think when you can get your kids, if you've got support and you want to start a business and you've got support and you prefer to be at work sometimes than be with your kids, there's no shame in that, because they are fucking nightmares at times.
Yeah.
That's just one, never mind 2.
I know. I'm a better mum for it. You know, when I work 2 to 3 days a week at the moment, and if I didn't have them days at work, which is my break,
it is your break.
I would be a nightmare at home.
And I know some women would be like shocked and horrified at my story and like, oh my God, I can't believe she could do that. And some women are just more maternal. I'm just not a maternal person. And
that's okay,
I love her and I'd die for her, of course. I'm a great mum. I've got more than just Amelia. I've got my adopted daughter Maya. I've got Amelia's best friend Freya. I'm so close with the girls.
Yeah.
But it's easy when they're older. Amelia's 16 soon. So it's like, so I was a baby having a baby. But yeah, I think that the whole everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this episode and you've got a young child or young children and you find it hard and you want to palm them off on your parents or whoever, go do it. If it's going to make you a better mum and it's going to give you time out, do it. Exactly.
You know, they don't care. My mum, like I said, my mum worked as a bar manager. I spent every other weekend at my nan and granddad's.
Yeah,
and I
loved it.
Oh my God.
Loved
the
it.
relationship I had with my grandparents, I still do, like with my nan, and I'm so grateful. And I know that my boys are going to be that close to my mum and dad. And it's just, so I think for me, like when I had that option of taking on that big salon, and I was like, I had said to my mum, I'm going to have to go back to work because the rent on that place was literally the profit I made from the 3 girls working in my salon.
So you was going to have to eat a lot of it up initially.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to have to go back to work to pay myself, because statutory maternity pay when you're self-employed, I think it's £600 a month.
It's ridiculous.
It's awful. So I needed to go to work, and I did. And my mum had the boys. So my mum had the boys for me so I could go to work, and it just, in the end I was just like, oh my God, I love being at work. And but it makes me appreciate my time at home with them as well.
If I did
really
it another time around, I think it'd be different because I'm older now.
of
But
course.
I just, do you know, from the traumatic experience of having a baby so young and showing the wrong baby, and she was in, it's just awful. It just never happened again. But I've adopted some children along the way, and I probably will adopt more in the future. So
I love that.
So back to the business side of things. So how important do you think social media is, and how has social media impacted your business? Do you think people should take it seriously?
Absolutely. God, I mean, I started my business promoting Ella Blisma in lockdown. So it
didn't even exist, did it? Like, as in, it wasn't a solid place.
No one knew. I had to get people to know about me through social media. I couldn't do word of mouth because no one had lashes done for like 4 months or however long it was. So it was all about pushing my social media to get Ella Blisma known. And, you know, I've always been a real confident person. You know, when I was at school, I was always in theatre shows and stuff. So talking on my stories is just so natural to me. And I think that's what set me apart, I think. I've always been able to talk on stories, and I now push that on my staff. Like, I'll just use one of my staff members as an example, my aesthetics practitioner. She is incredible at what she does, but her Instagram is just her work. There's no pictures of her, nothing of her, and she never talks to her stories. And I was like, you're literally going to be trusted with needles on people's faces. They need to see who they're coming to. You know, it's a bit different to getting your nails done or your lashes. I was like, people want to see who is injecting their face. So you need to start talking on your stories, showing how much of a kind, compassionate person you are. And let's just see how it goes. Because she was going for a little bit of a quiet stage, and it was first week in January. She started talking on stories, and this month, January, has been her busiest month in 2 years.
That's what I mean. People like to buy off people.
Yeah, and literally, and I've got a couple of most of my staff are really good on their social media, but there's a couple that, you know, they won't mind me saying, I do need to give them a kick up the arse occasionally.
Some of mine are terrible, but I check out of that now. I don't need to be involved. They're self-employed now, and I'm silent director in the company, so they do what you please, but some of them are amazing, some of them aren't, and that's okay if that's how they want to do it. But
but I say to them, like, just look at her for an example. Like, she is now been fully booked in January because she started talking in her stories, and it wasn't always relevant to her business. She was talking about what she had for lunch that day, you know? So I think social media is so important, and especially in this day and age, everyone is on it, aren't they? So, yeah.
How do you do social media? So you've got twins that are 2. You've got a team of freaking 12.
I know.
How do you do social media? Do you bulk do it, or do you just kind of do one post a day? Do you have like a structure, or...?
Sometimes I bulk. If I know I've got a really busy week ahead, I bulk.
You'll bulk it.
I don't necessarily love to schedule my posts. If I can get away with not scheduling, like, I'll schedule if I go on holiday because I want to put my phone away and be like on holiday. Not that ever happens. But I try and post organically. I like to bulk stuff in my drafts.
Okay.
And then, because I like to try and post and engage at the same time, you know, not like just post and ghost.
Yes.
And I think that like scheduling is great, but Instagram starts to know that you're not on the app, don't they? So I try and do that. I set reminders on my phone at like 6:30 p.m. post. So I know I've got to
sit. Engaging.
Yeah. My kids are eating the dinner. I can quickly go in on my phone and start engaging. Yeah. Or sometimes I'll switch up and let's try posting in the morning this week. And I think, I just, it depends how busy I've been in the salon in terms of, I do a few clients myself. I do semi-permanent makeup now. If I haven't had a lot of clients that week, I will have batch created so much content in the salon, or I'll like really try and push the girls to send me content. Some weeks I'm like, I've got no content, so I'll repurpose old content, repost old content. I don't think
there's anything wrong with that. I always say leave it 3 to 6 months, whatever one.
I think
whatever
I saw
wins,
someone said that
it.
if it's over 9 months old, people aren't going to remember it.
Babe, I do after 3.
Yeah.
I do after 3. 3 months, all my studio content, 3 months, repost it, especially if it's done well. So we track everything. And if something's won once, it's likely to win again. So go into you. If you've really not got time, go back a few months, look at what won, repost it.
So I wouldn't say I've got necessarily a strategy. I'll probably wing it,
but you make sure it's done. It's a priority.
Oh, massive priority. Yeah.
Okay, so your business has gained a really strong reputation. You've also won lots of awards as well, haven't you? So what tips would you give to others that would help them get a good reputation and potentially be in for some awards? What have you done?
The biggest thing for me is customer service. You know, the most recent award we won was the best salon in our town for customer service.
Oh, I love that.
And that was a Secret Shopper Award. So,
No way.
yeah, which I think, you know, there are a lot of awards out there you can get that you're pretty much buying the award, aren't you?
Yeah,
like
I had a conversation about this recently and some opinions on that. Like, there's literally some place like, oh, if you send us this money, we'll send you an award.
I know.
Like, oh,
I know.
okay.
It's like I got approached by one that was like the best salon in Suffolk, but you have to pay £150 for it. I was like, no.
And you get a guaranteed place.
Yeah, like absolutely
Well, you're
not.
just buying your place then, aren't
I know. Whereas this one was free. It was done by like our local bid company.
Yes.
And it was like, we're going to send a Secret Shopper in, which I was scared about, but I knew it'd be fine because all the girls are brilliant. And we didn't know when they were coming in. And then we got invited to the awards night and found out we won. And we passed 95%. Score of the Secret Shopper service. So it was just incredible. And that for me, that is a real award.
Yes.
Like, that is a proper achievement. And that just goes to show, like, people look at that and they think, wow, they must deliver good customer service, because that award, they knew what it was about. It was a Secret Shopper award. So I think, just giving the best customer service is my number one tip. Like, you could be really like not great at your treatment, say lashes or whatever, but if you are a nice person, you're funny, you've got good chat, you're approachable, then your clients will just naturally build up, like your client list. Like when I first started lashes, I was rubbish, but I've always been so confident and chatty that I just attracted clients, like I naturally attracted clients, like manifested it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when I first started at this salon that I worked at originally, I remember one of the girls, she was so chatty and so confident, but she wasn't the best. But she was the most fully booked out of the whole team. And there was some,
like to be around her.
And there was other girls in there that were like incredible at what they did, but they hardly spoke and they were really quiet with their clients. And I think that says a lot. So I'd say the customer service, just it will get you recognised. And also, you know, there are some great awards out there. Putting yourself up for these awards, do your research, obviously. But being award winning, like we have all of our awards in our shop window, and you know, we've got written on the salon multi-award winning salon. It's on our Google page, and I think that just, you know, makes people trust you a lot more.
Yes, I agree. I always say I think there's pros and cons. I think there's some companies out there doing it for the money, and I think that there's pros and cons. Like I said on another episode, I don't think you have to be a multi-winning award salon, a multi-award winning salon to be successful.
No,
I think
not,
there are salons out there that have never won an award that are extremely successful. So I don't want people putting their whole like hopes onto an award thinking, well, if I don't get this award, that means I'm not going to be successful, because I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I also know of salons that have won awards and the shit.
Yeah.
And I'll just say it, the shit, like the customer service is shit, their approach to clients is shit, the way that they gossip about, and that's just people I know personally.
Yeah.
So I think that there are pros and cons to it. Absolutely. And I also think they can be confidence knockers for people. If someone puts themselves forward and they're not ready and they don't win, they can really beat themselves up about that. And I don't think that's helpful for the person.
No, absolutely.
So I think you've got to weigh it up. You know, if I win, I win. If I don't, I don't.
I mean, God, I've lost a lot. Like, I've not won every award I've gone for, and
it's not affected you.
Not affected
yeah,
you.
Exactly.
You don't tell people about that.
Yeah,
they don't know.
No one needs to know that.
I mean, I'm telling everyone now. But
sorry, you just shared that with quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
Do you or your team want to train in a new and popular beauty treatment for as little as £99? Whether it's lashes, brows or facials, adding a new service can mean more clients and more money. With Beginner Beauty Courses UK, you can train for as little as £99, all from the comfort of your own home. Get instant access to their online accredited courses and train in treatments like lash lift and tint, classic lash extensions, beginner facials, massage, Russian lash extensions, and more. You'll get full support from your tutor, private WhatsApp chats, and lifetime access to easy to follow tutorials that you can rewatch over and over again. Click on the link in the show notes and train in a brand new in-demand beauty treatment today. I just want to go into, because I know you do training. Why did you choose to start training, and what is it that you train in?
So I train lashes and brows. So that actually started in the second lockdown. It was the winter one, the January one. So I started the salon I started Ella Blismer in the August 2020. And then when it came to the big second winter lockdown, me and my friend at the time, she was also a lash tech, we were like buddies in COVID, and we were
Gotta
like,
get them lashes done still.
I know.
Even
do
though I'm not
each
going
other's
anywhere.
lashes,
You better do my lash. My sister was a lash tech. I was buzzing.
Oh, so yeah, and we were just like, had all these like, how can we make money? Like, so we decided to do, we called it the Lash Live. I can't remember what it was called, to be honest, but we did this like live Instagram masterclass, and we sold tickets for like £35. Local lash techs bought our tickets. I think we sold quite a few tickets to do a live Instagram masterclass on like a private page, and it went really well. And the newspaper wrote an article about it. And
wow.
It was, yeah, there was like, you know, local lash techs team up to teach an online masterclass in lockdown. And it just gave us the idea, like, we can teach. We know what we're doing. Like, you know, we've been doing this long enough. And we always said that the standards of training, especially in our area, were really poor at the time. So we decided to do our AET level 3 during lockdown because we had the time. And then we started writing the courses. I've always been a real pro when it comes to like graphics and Canva. So I designed all the manuals, and I loved just having that time to spend on that. And then we were like, oh, hold on, we're going to need some products to put in the kits. But at that time, we were both very, I mean, I still am, very eco-conscious, and we hated how much plastic was in the beauty industry. Like, I would do a big order of lashes, everything was plastic, they'd all break, they felt crap quality, all the plastic lash ones. I was like, wow, like, how much plastic are we all wasting in the beauty industry? And so we did the research on it, and we realised there wasn't any like fully eco-friendly brands in the UK. So we decided to create the UK's first eco-friendly lash brand.
As you do.
As you do. And that came with a lot of challenges. You know, being eco-friendly is a lot more expensive. So I own the company now by myself, but it's, you know, I take the hit for it in my profit because not enough people care about the environment to choose, oh, I'm going to pay an extra £1 and go with her.
Yeah.
Because, you know, so, so I needed obviously the products to go with the training and the kits. And the idea was, well, if it doesn't go well, we've still got the products too. We don't need to worry about selling the products because we need them for our kits and we need them for ourselves. It's not like you're starting a fashion brand and you think, well, I'm not going to wear that dress in every size and it's just going to sit on the clothing rail. So we were like, well, it's kind of like you got nothing to lose. So we did invest the last of what we had in our savings into the brand and the products, and we ended up launching as soon as we came out of that last lockdown, and it just went strength to strength. Like the training just blew up. It went so busy, and then the demand for the products came really busy as well because no one had seen something so like new in the industry, you know. So
and consciously created as well.
Yeah, and then in the end, like we become so quite well known in the lash industry. We were being invited to all these events, and then the products kind of took over from the training in the end, and I still do the training. Yeah.
So with the training, do you do in-person training, online training, and your lash products? What are you selling, and where can people find them?
So the training is mostly in person.
At your salon?
Yeah, at my salon.
And that's in?
Newmarket in Suffolk. And I've actually got 2 of my members of staff now training alongside me, which is a full circle moment because I trained them.
And now they're training
I know.
And they're all getting trained to your standard.
I know. So it's brilliant. And I have online training as well. And that's something that I'm planning on developing more of in this year. And then the products, that kind of, like I was saying, it blew up and it was going really, really well. And then this year, something that I've been quite vocal about on socials recently, this year I don't know what happened to the lash industry. It just went wild. Like, not necessarily for lash techs. I think lash techs are doing really well at the moment if they're adapting to this new natural style that everyone's having. But lash brands, everyone just started competing with each other a lot, and it just was a bit strange. Like, everyone's doing sales every day, and I don't know another industry like it. You look at the brow brands, like you look at HD Brows and all of these brands, they're not doing these wild sales all the time. You look at the nail brands.
They're driving the industry down, probably not realising. And
it was when I joined the BGA actually, because I've been so invested in the lash industry, I kind of lost focus of the beauty industry. And I was on all these lash forums, and I was part of actually a lash membership as well. And they are great, but I kind of just got, because the industry just become a really toxic place for me. And it was when I joined the Beauty Growth Academy and started talking to beauty therapists, not just lash techs, I started to fall in love with the industry again. I took a bit of a break from the products. I still sell the products every day, and I still have my regular customers buying from me. every day, but I haven't promoted products in about 4 months now because the industry seemed quite a toxic place for me.
You didn't like it.
Didn't like it. I was like, I'm not putting on sales every day. Like, my products are worth more than that.
Yeah.
And it's the same people that are telling Lash Techs to put the prices up. No, you're worth, yet you're devaluing your products every day, and I'm not about that.
Yeah, I get that.
So, I made a big statement about it on my Instagram the other day, and it was received really well, which I'm very pleased about. And it's made me realise I do need to put them out there again.
Yeah.
So that's one of my goals for this year, is to start pushing my products again alongside the training. So yeah, and I've always cut out the noise. But, I have a salon next door to me. There's salons everywhere in my town, and I've never focused on them, never cared about what they're doing or what offers they're doing or the fact that we're more expensive than them, whatever. So why am I doing it with other brands? Why am I caring about what they're doing? Just focus on what I'm doing.
Focus on your lane, and you'll attract your people and the people that respect and know the value in your products and what you do. And you work to a high standard, so there's no doubt about it. If somebody orders a product from you, it's going to be of a high standard.
Absolutely.
Because you wouldn't sell anything less.
No, exactly.
So we'll link everything in the show notes below as well. And I just also wanted to quickly touch on, you've been to quite a few of the BGA events, haven't you?
Yeah.
And at the last one you actually got on the stage, didn't you?
I did.
We were talking about it. So what do you like about the BGA events, and would you recommend people listening to this to come along to them?
Absolutely. Do you know what? I don't know how to explain it, but it just felt like a family. Like that family feel, like everyone, like when every time we went out for like a 5-minute break, people just come up and talk to you if you didn't know them, which I loved. Whereas I've been mainly to Lash events before, and I don't know, it was a bit of a different vibe. I can't really explain it. And I think with yours, because you focus a lot on the spiritual side of things, and I'd never had that with an event before. And I remember when we did, do you know,
I've not yet done an event on business, really.
Well,
like, honestly, I really need to get my shit together.
It?
Because I was looking at all my last events I've done, and I'm like, okay, I've spoken about self-worth in that, and I've spoken about productivity in that, and I've spoken about, I don't know, like your self-belief in that. And I think, Lash, you actually haven't taught strategy in a lot. I did goal setting a couple of weeks ago, but I actually haven't taught much strategy. But then I think that business success starts at a personal
100%,
level.
100%.
So I can't get. I need a 3-day event. That is what I need.
God. Well, I just need to come on to one of your next retreats.
Yes,
invite me.
God. I know, I will. I'll make sure you know of the next one.
But no, do you know what? The one that we did, was it in October?
Yes.
Yeah. We did the visualisation at the end.
Yeah.
And
did you cry?
Cried the whole way through.
Oh my God, people love my visualisation.
Oh my God, I've never felt so powerful and connected.
I love
like
that.
Honestly, like I do visualisation a lot myself every day, but that was next level, and it just changed me.
Yeah, because I took you through seeing the 3 things you wanted to achieve, and then we stepped into them, and
it was
felt it.
Wild.
And then, I love that.
And my friend came along, like she'd signed up to the BGA, and I was like, sign up, come to this event with me. And she was going through a really hard time at the time of her business, and honestly, she doesn't even she is actually a social media manager for beauty brands. So she's not even a beauty therapist, but I was like, just join. Like, you'll get so much from it.
You'll get something from it. Yeah.
And she says that she says that event got her out of depression.
Oh, don't.
I'm not even joking. And she was so I'm so glad I brought her along.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, thank you for that.
Changing lives.
Wow. Changing the world one beauty business owner at a time, baby. So what are your plans then going forward? I know you said about, bringing the Lash brand back in again and the train. Do you have any plans with the salon, or are you happy with that one right now?
I mean, at the moment, we're still currently renovating the new top floor. So we've turned into a multi-story, 2-story salon. So that is taking up a lot of my time and money. And I think once that's done, I just want to kind of enjoy it as it is. I've invested so much money into this salon.
You want to reap a bit back now.
Yeah. Pay myself a little bit more. And just enjoy it for what it is. And I think slow down with that a little bit. Not slow down, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
So focus on the training and the products, continue to still, train my team up to the best of their ability. But I think if we're talking 5-year goal, I would love to one day open a second salon in another location. But I'd also my biggest goal ever is to have my mum come on board with me. Wow. But I said God, if I could retire her, that'd be amazing. But she loves work.
Oh yeah, so if she could just work for you.
Yeah,
and
but I said I'm not going to take her on until I can pay her what she deserves.
Yeah,
so
that's cute.
So and I think when you work in beauty, it's really hard to employ someone that's not doing treatments.
Yeah,
because you're thinking, how am I
Well,
going to...
just, you know, you can listen. I've had front of house managers, reception manager kind of thing, and they add huge value.
Yeah.
Well, they can do your accounts, they can do your bookkeeping, they can do.
Exactly.
There's so many jobs that they can do for you. That's not just bye
But
kind
I
of
can
thing.
employ someone to do that now, but I wouldn't pay my mum that. She'd
Yeah, I
charge
get
more.
that. Yeah, I get
so
that.
that is my goal.
I
So
could see you
hopefully-
opening like a medi-spa clinic type of, you know, like you've got your suite and it's amazing, but I could just see you with that next level one as well, like high end, high cost. I don't know.
And
We'll
we're
have to
kind of
discuss that
going,
at a retreat.
we're kind of going down that route with like we're really bringing in facials and massage now. So, you know, the ground floor's all like your lashes, your nails, your aesthetics, and then top floor we're going to have your massage, your facials, and a lot more private up there. So it's kind of like being a one-stop shop. So, but yeah.
I love that. I also just wanted to quickly touch on when you said about you want to enjoy it for a little bit. I used this in another podcast episode. You spend a lot of time planting the seeds, nurturing the plants that grow from the seeds, watering the garden, maintaining the garden, looking after the garden, and eventually the fruits come.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to sit and eat the fruit, babe.
I know.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
So just sit, enjoy the fruit for a little bit.
Yeah.
And when it feels right, you'll know, because you're in an emotional being will be like, you're going to go and do this now. And you'll have no fucking choice because your energy will just take you there. But yeah, just sometimes just sitting and eating in the fruit and looking at what you've built and what you've planted and everything that's come is just a nice space to be.
Absolutely.
And just getting some of that money and spending it on you.
Yeah.
Because I do love the whole make money, invest money, repeat.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to stop and be like, okay, make money, spend it on me.
Exactly.
Enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'll start investing it again.
Yeah.
Okay, Ella, you've been an incredible guest.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. And where will people find out about you? I'm going to link everything below anyway. What's your Instagram handle? Sorry.
So the salon is at Ella Bellissima __, and then my brand and training academy is at melash.uk.
Okay, cool. So anybody who wants to go and train with Ella,
Yeah.
everything will be in the show notes below so they can just click on the links and come and find you. And are you open to having DMs from people?
Absolutely. Fill
Okay.
my DMs.
DM this bitch. Okay. Thank you, babes.
Thank
You've
you
been
so
amazing.
much. Thank you.